what we offer in the Culture of Respect, our flagship course now, is a 10-week, 25-hour course. Meets in the evenings, 2.5 hours per week. The pedagogy for this course has been time-tested, evolved. I couldn't be more proud of it. To give you a little sense of how the 10 weeks flows, the first week is our sort of leveling, normalizing, setting group expectations. We review what we call our working agreements. Those are the shared community expectations we agreed to abide by as a group on this journey together. And we do some interactive diversity activities designed to get folks seeing the diversity that is indeed present in the room. In week 2, the focus is on how we dissect sort of the structure of oppression in the culture of respect. So we're explaining the dynamics as far as included, excluded, and middle groups within systems of oppression. We talk about the 4 levels on which people experience oppression: personal, interpersonal, group, and institutional or intergroup. We talk about the cycle of oppression. How is it possible that something like patriarchy persists for millennia? Like how does this perpetuate? How is this relearned and recycled? We break down that for our participants. And we also address the cycle of liberation. So how can we break out of that cycle of perpetuation, that cycle of oppression? And so that is the focus of week 2, is really breaking down that. And then in weeks 3 through 9, those 7 weeks are our ism explorations. As Tisha mentioned at the start, we examine racism, classism, sexism, ableism, ageism, religious oppression, and heterosexism. There is a very specific cadence and rhythm to each of those ism explorations. We start with our one-word check-in, as always. That's our fingers on the pulse of the room. How are people feeling? It breaks the ice from the start. Everyone has already used their voice before we've even begun. We then head into what's called home groups. Home groups are a unique space in the culture of respect. One, they're the only place in the course where spontaneous cross-identity dialogue takes place. There's no other space in the course where that happens. And then 2, it's each week there is a journal prompt and a few brief reading assignments or videos for participants to review. And the home group space is where we discuss those amongst each other. After home groups, there is always an interactive activity. Sometimes it's participated in our home groups, other times it's participated in by everyone in the large group. Then we head off to what are called affinity groups. So in each system of oppression, based on whether the structure for that ism, it has always have an included group and an excluded group, and in some isms, middle groups. We offer affinity groups based on that structure. And the value of separating off into affinity groups when first exploring our conversation around the ism is, for example, in sexism, as someone who identifies as male, if I'm in a group with other people who all identify as male, I could have a radically different opinion about what manhood means to me compared to what it would mean to others in the group. But overall, as a group of people who identify as male, there are similarities as far as costs and privileges that we experience as we navigate our way through the world. So it's our time to explore that with people who share identities with us. And then we come back together for what's called a speak out. And I mentioned that home groups are the only space where spontaneous cross-identity dialogue takes place. Speakouts are highly structured. They're not conversations. They are one-way dialogues, essentially. In the culture of respect, we seek to take the imbalance that enables systems of oppression to exist, and we create spaces where people who represent included group membership are just given the gift of listening, and people who represent excluded group membership who are normally disempowered are instead exclusively given the power. The floor is theirs to share their lived experience. We have prompts to guide participants and facilitators when framing their experience. And everyone benefits indeed from the gift of listening. And as you can imagine, those are some of Well, they are the most powerful learning moments I've ever experienced in my own life. There are countless and countless stories I have heard shared with me, real, authentic human experiences of someone across from you, you know, that I carry with me to this day. Over the past 25 years, I think about every day. Then after our speak out, we participate in what's called ally work. That is where our folks who shared have an opportunity to hear from others who listened, what they heard that had an impact on them, and then what they're willing to do about it, right? We have different prompts around, based on what you learned tonight, how can you apply this to being an ally toward people in this excluded group moving forward? Then our final course session in week 10 involves two activities. One is called a culture share, and the other is a tradition in the culture of respect called Affirmations. That really puts a bow on the journey that we all shared together and what the next steps are from here. How do I continue this work? And what does this look like in my life moving forward?